Traders! Stop trying to trade these holiday markets with your new iPhone and take a break! With Christmas behind us and the new year right around the corner, the market feels slow. But you can see that clearly on the charts. Volume is low, breakouts are weak, and price action is boring. But that doesn't mean anything is broken. Quiet periods like this usually signal compression, not a sell-off. Before we get into the charts though, let's talk about what's happening on the macro side, because that's quietly setting the stage for what comes next. Let's go! First, an important reminder around risk and ownership. Ripple CTO David Joel Katz Schwartz, oy vey, that's a lot of names, recently warned crypto wallet makers about mandatory firmware updates, saying they can push users into rushed, high-pressure decisions. That's a strong reminder that as adoption grows, security, patience, and control matter more than speed. What I'd like to know is what's the deal with all those names? That's a mouthful of names right there. I mean, what is this? One of those multiple personality situations? I thought only exotic strippers suffered from that. I guess it depends on what kind of strip clubs you're into, but he don't look like an exotic stripper to me. So maybe someone could let me know in the comments, what is the story with all those names? Next, something interesting on the Ethereum side. There are growing signs that Tom Lee and Bitmine may have started staking Ethereum for the first time. If confirmed, that's not exposure. That's long-term conviction and yield participation from institutional players. And now zoom out even further. Crypto ETFs are expected to be huge in 2026. Bloomberg, speaking of boring, analyst Eric Balchunas expects over 100 new ETF filings with potential inflows ranging from $15 billion and $40 billion, Mr. Powers, and as institutional demand accelerates. So while price is quiet today, institutions are preparing for the next cycle. Ethereum staking interest is in expansion, and ETF infrastructure is still being built. This isn't a market losing relevance. It's a quiet market before the next phase. Now, let's look at how all of this lines up with the charts, shall we? Let's start with the monthly chart, because this is the anchor. Bitcoin is still maintaining its key monthly level. There is no impulsive bearishness, no structural failure. As long as this level holds, the long-term trend stays intact. On the weekly, Bitcoin is simply consolidating. Check this out. This is exactly what you'd expect during this time of year. Even if we see a small weekly pullback, that's clear support below coming from this weekly order block, which limits bearish risk. This isn't aggressive selling. It's a market waiting for liquidity to return. On the daily chart, the breakout attempt was pretty weak, but context matters. This hasn't failed because of a strong rejection. It failed because there's not enough participation right now. Holiday weeks often produce weak breakouts, sideways movement, choppy flow throughout. That's seasonal behavior, not structural weakness. It's important to understand the nature of seasonality, and you'll see this type of behavior repeat over and over during holidays. It's simply a low volume, non-participation type of environment. On the 4-hour chart, Bitcoin continues to respect this bullish trend line. Price is not accelerating lower. Bears are clearly not in control. That tells us the market is balanced. It's not breaking. In fact, this entire formation can be considered a triangle, and in order to make a judgment, the market needs to break out one way or the other. On the 2-hour, Bitcoin trades slightly below the 50-period EMA, which you can see here, which adds some short-term pressure. But more importantly, there's clear support below. So even on lower time frames, risk remains very well defined. I'm going to repeat this a lot. In a holiday environment, this price action means very little. The things you want to keep an eye on is the fact that this is a higher low support so far. And when volume comes back, be prepared for a slight pullback and don't overreact to it, because as long as this higher low is being maintained or this 2-hour support is being maintained, you are more likely to see this scenario. The key is the validation. The market will either validate or it won't. The market gives us new information and then we adjust, but we have to wait for the new information. Now Ethereum. On the weekly chart, Ethereum is still respecting this trend line. Even if price probes slightly lower, there's a major support zone below that has historically produced strong reactions. That keeps Ethereum structurally healthy. The goal here is to be prepared for when volume returns to the market. So for example, if we get some type of bullish engulfing candle over the next couple of weeks above this trend line, that would validate the first scenario. But if we sell off slightly, followed by a bullish engulfing candle or perhaps even a pin bar, any type of bullish reversal candle inside of this order block support, then you're likely validating the second scenario. The idea here is not to be fooled or misled by a slight sell-off into a major support level. This is especially true if Bitcoin is not selling off. Remember, these markets are highly correlated. You could use one as a roadmap for the other one. Now, on the 4-hour chart, Ethereum looks very similar to Bitcoin. Very low volume, no momentum, no break of support. This is a pause, not a failure. I mean, this price action is painfully obvious. Look at this. I mean, just look at the tight range. This is just not worth any type of activity at all. You know, it's great that you're checking the charts to see what's going on, but during holidays, volume dries up dramatically. People go away. Institutions are not making moves that you can see in the markets, right? There's just no action. So it's not worth it. It's not worth giving this a try at all. Wait until the volume comes back. It will come back. You just have to be patient. It takes maybe another week or so, but it will come back. The problem with this type of situation is the price action is highly random, and you may think you see things that really don't matter. It's pretty much meaningless. What matters here is that a major support or a major resistance holds. In this case, the 4-hour support is still in play, and that's really the only piece of important information we can gain from this. So when you put it all together, here's what it looks like. Bitcoin, monthly levels still being maintained without a problem. Weekly, consolidation. Daily breakout weak due to seasonal price action. 4-hour trend line respected. 2-hour below the 50 EMA, but supported underneath. Ethereum, weekly trend line respected. Major support below. 4-hour showing the same holiday price action. And on the macro side, institutions preparing for the new year. Ethereum staking interest expansion. Massive ETF growth expected ahead. This isn't a market to force trades. It's a market waiting for volume and price action to return. If you want to trade these levels yourself, I left my exchange links in the description. BTCC and WeX. Use them only if they help. They support the channel and give you access to the same tools. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your 2 cents. Do it. Do it now. Close of the year price action is rarely exciting. It's slow, it's quiet, and it tests patience. I have no idea why you would even be looking at these charts. But structure is still maintaining. Support is still doing its job, and the next real move usually comes after this calm. Enjoy the holidays, stay patient, and see you in the next one.